Awesome. So thanks for having me here today. I understand that you have some questions about Zora and how we've helped other subscription businesses. And I think the best way to really address that is to show you why customers choose Zora. And our typical customer have three things in common. Number one is there needs to be a catalyst in their business. And when we're talking about a catalyst, we're talking about they need to be launching a new product, they need to be scaling their business, growing from 100 customers to 1,000 within 2 years, or they need to be pivoting. If they're a traditional subscription business or a traditional license-based business, maybe they want to pivot to a subscription business. And number two, the customer needs to be complex. This, of course, is dependent on the customer. And what we generally find with our customers is there's a complexity around how they're going to market with their pricing and packaging. And more importantly is we need to look at this complexity and understand what is the complexity, who in the organization does it affect, and what in the organization does it affect. Is it affecting cash flow? Is it affecting renewal rates? So what we're going to show you is kind of how this complexity is going to trickle through your entire business. And lastly is volume. If your business is operating today and you only have 10 invoices going out a month, you're not going to feel the pain or see the value of a solution like Zora. So what we tend to find is when you start growing, when your transaction volume is more around 100 to 150 transactions a month, that's when you're really going to see the downstream effects from the complexities as well as the value of a system like Zora that can automate these processes. So what I'd like to do for you is start out by talking about your pricing and packaging. Now, when you're going to market, you're going to make a few general assumptions and you're going to come up with a price and a package that you think your customers are going to want to consume the most. What you're going to have is a billing frequency. It could be daily, monthly, quarterly, yearly. You may also decide that you're not just going to have one product offering. You want to have a base product, a standard edition, and then an enterprise edition. So you may have different product tiers. Then, depending on how you sell your product, there may be add-ons. This could be one-time fees or add-on functionality. As well as there may be other factors to it, such as upgrades. Do you want to allow them to upgrade from base to standard? And so what you'll see is your pricing and packaging is going to drive your business. And even minor changes within it are going to cause complexities downstream as these multiply out, as we get different combinations on a contract of billing frequency, different tiers, add-ons, and upgrades. And what this leads to are complexities in the subscription. How many changes are you making to your contract? Are you allowing customers to upgrade midterm? How are you tracking that? Are you allowing customers to do this on their own through a self-service portal? Do they have to do it through a sales team? With these upgrades, are there changes to the customer's rights? Do they have to have a new contract because they have access to new functionality? How is that being reflected internally? And then a very common occurrence is promotions. Do you have promotions to incentivize customers? Do you have 10% off this month to upgrade from base to standard edition? 20% off to upgrade from base to enterprise edition? Do you offer promotions to get customers to renew earlier? 10% off your next month's subscription if you renew this month. And what we find is that when we create this pricing and packaging, and then we put this into a subscription that the customers can adopt and take in. And of course, we want to get as many customers as possible, so we want to be able to adjust our pricing and packaging, which means we have to adjust the subscription, that's where we run into our billing issue. So by the time we get to finance, our biggest concern is recognizing this revenue. We don't want any financial leakage. We want to make sure we recognize all the revenue, as well as we recognize it correctly with the customers, so that we're not getting calls from customer service all day long. We got billed too much, we didn't get billed enough. We want to make sure that everything's running smoothly. In a perfect world, there'd be one invoice sent out to a customer, no matter how many changes they make, and there wouldn't have to be any ad hoc invoices or ad hoc billing. But what I'll show you is, to get to that perfection, that perfect revenue recognition, is any change that happens in the pricing and packaging is going to multiply out through the subscription and cause changes when you're trying to recognize that revenue. For instance, if we change the billing frequency, when by the time we get to revenue recognition, that's going to end up with either a credit to the customer or a change that may not be handled today by today's system very easily. Whether we have to prorate them, or if we have to co-term the contracts. So as you take your pricing and packaging and you make changes here, and the changes go to subscription, then the changes happen on the financial end as well, which cause quite the tension in the back office and make it harder to close the books, as well as make it harder to understand the health of the business today. And so any organization would then want to get this information they have from finance and their pricing and packaging, and they want to analyze it. For instance, we're offering a free model. We want to know what the customer adoption is. Once the customer is adopted, are they upgrading? What's the renewal rate? Are we having churn problems? And so when we start looking at the metrics and the analytics of our customers, what usually happens, and the reason why people buy Zuora is, rarely do customers get the first use case correct. So they're going to go back, they're going to take these analytics, and they're going to adjust the pricing and packaging. And usually that second iteration, it gets better. So they're going to see subscription uptake, they're going to see an uptick in their revenue, in their finance, and recognizing that revenue, and then they can keep analyzing and reiterating. So what you see is that it's truly a subscription life cycle. It's not just a billing problem, it's not just a pricing and packaging problem, it's one whole cyclical solution or problem that you're having today. So what I'd like to do now is explain how Zuora attacks this subscription lifecycle with what we call relational business management. So today, if you're selling B2B, you're probably using a tool like Salesforce. Salesforce.com, fantastic tool. Our founder came from Salesforce.com. We're built to natively integrate it with it. The issue with Salesforce.com, it wasn't built to understand subscriptions, and it wasn't built to understand consumption. What we do with Zuora is we work natively with the Salesforce.com price book. We have our own pricing engine to allow you to price out for subscription. We recognize time, and we recognize the other attributes, and we allow you to build those out for your product. And once you have those built out in Zuora, you can change those daily. It's no longer a long process that has to go through several parts of your business, from the CEO to product management to operations to change the pricing and packaging. You can now iterate daily, monthly, quarterly, however you see fit from the analytics that you're seeing. If you wish to go B2C, we can integrate with your web page. We have a PCI compliant landing page where customers can put their credit card information in, purchase products, purchase additional users. And then to go with the web page and the self-service as well, that's what most of our customers use it for, is we have integrations with payment gateways. So if you have a direct sales force working through Salesforce and customers being able to buy B2C or with e-commerce, or if you have customers going directly through Salesforce, and then you have customers purchasing through self-service on the website through the PCI compliant payment page, we have native integrations with payment gateways, credit cards, PayPal, Stripe, etc. If you decide to charge sales tax, we have a native integration with the tax engine, Avalara. And then what does this all mean? What we're talking about here is more on the front end. How do we get our customers? We can change the pricing and packaging. We can make the amendments on the subscription. Now, on the back end, when this all gets to your GL, we roll up as a sub-ledger. We're GL agnostic. We work with QuickBooks, NetSuite, Oracle, SAP, you name it, we can work with your general ledger. So the value that Zuora provides is we fill in those gaps between your CRM, your GL, your web self-service, your payment gateways, and your tax to offer your customers the best subscription experience, as well as internally give you the back office solutions to automate those processes and make changes based on the evolving market.